welcome to another episode of Jesus Talk, the show where we talk about Jesus. I'm Brandi Jo, and this is Emma. We are very excited to have a special guest with us today. She is a lifelong member of Bethel, and many of you see her, or at least hear her, in the 11 o'clock service. Please give a warm welcome to Lynn Nollick.
Welcome to the show. It's great to have you here. We understand that you began playing in the church when you were only 9 years old. How did that happen?
I started piano lessons when I was 7, and by the time I was 9, the lady who had been playing in church was bedridden and couldn't come to church anymore. So Sherry Dennard and I started taking week about, and we could only play a few things. So the preacher at the time would call us and tell us what the hymns were going to be. And we would practice all week. And then that Sunday, those were the only songs that we could play. But we did it.
Were you nervous being so young?
I was nervous. I was scared to death they were going to ask me to play something that I didn't know.
You also played at camp meeting. Did that start at the same time you began playing in the church?
No, I didn't start at camp meeting till, I'm going to guess I was maybe 18, 19 years old. And I started doing, I shared playing the organ with Carolyn Dooley. And then after that, Carolyn got a job with school system, so I started doing it all the time.
Music plays a big part in the part of the church service. Do you see the role of music in worship?
I think it's very, very important. It is a good way for us to be able to praise God and to show Him, how much we think of Him.
Do you have a favorite hymn, and would you like to share it?
My favorite hymn is probably Spirit Song. It's in the Methodist hymnal, and it talks about God's love, and I like the melody and I like the words.
I'm sure Bethel has changed quite a bit during your time here. What has been the biggest change you have seen?
Probably the biggest change has been the growth that we've had. When I was a child, we basically had 6 families in the church, and that was all. We had the Dennards, the Birds, the Bennetts, which were my family, the Stevens, the Hugheses, and the Singletons. And that was just about it.
What has been the most unusual or funny thing that's ever happened during a church service?
I'm sure there's been several funny things, but the most unusual thing that ever happened to me was we had an Easter cantata that the choir was doing, and there was a big elaborate set all across the front of the church, and there was no room for the piano, so I was having to play it back behind this big set. And it was Easter, so it was during income tax time, and at work we did taxes. I'd been working late every night, and I had not had the time that I needed to put toward practice to get to where I could play the songs really well. And I was just really, really nervous about messing the whole thing up. And I remember I sat down on the piano bench with nothing but a black curtain in front of me. Couldn't see choir, couldn't see director, couldn't see anything. And I just closed my eyes and I said, God, help me through this. And it was as if He entered my body and played that for me, because I don't have a real recollection. It was 30 minutes long, and when it was over with, I couldn't even remember hardly any of it. And I thought to myself, God help me so much that He entered my body and played that for me. And people can believe what they want to, but that's what I believe.
That's awesome.
I know.
Well, and thank you so much for being our guest today. That's it for this episode of Jesus Talk. On behalf of myself and Lynn, have a blessed week, and we will see you next time on Jesus Talk.